Well, let's cross to Washington. Haiti's ambassador to the United States is Edmond Bocchit. Thank you for speaking with us here on France 24.
It's a pleasure to be with you, Francois.
What's the latest? Because we're getting conflicting word on whether or not that manhunt continues. Have you heard more?
Of course, the manhunt continues. The national police investigators. They are seeking for more assailants, more criminals. And I believe two of them this morning were caught. And we'll continue to seek for them because we believe there have been more of them. So this is one of the objectives, is to seek for those killers and arrest them and bring them to justice.
Do we know more about these suspects, what nationality they are, how they got in the country?
Yeah, this operation is being held now. I believe the national police investigators, they are going deeper, but they have not been able to reveal nationalities, identities yet. This is part of the investigation. So we'll be waiting for them once those information are available and to be put it outside to the press.
Will be reported once more. Let me ask you, because there are questions over what exactly happened. Neighbors said they heard gunshots for some 2 hours. We had been reporting 24 hours ago how it appears as though the break-in and killing of President Moise happened around 1 a.m. And there's reports the police only showed up at dawn. So do we know what happened during the overnight of Tuesday to Wednesday?
As you have well said, reports, but what we'll stick to the investigations, because we just don't want to speculate. We want to put out some information out there, but those information has to be credible. Therefore, one way to do that is to let the police continue with the investigation. And I believe those guards who were there, they will be questioned and then they will be interrogated. And at the end, we will know what really occurred. But now we just don't want to speculate. We just don't want to give time to the national police investigators to continue with their investigations. And so more details will be revealed.
There's confusion over who is the interim leader of Haiti right now. There were dueling constitutions. The president of the Supreme Court had died. There's also another constitution that says the job goes to the prime minister. On Monday, a new one had been named. And it sounds as though both the outgoing interim prime minister, Claude Joseph, and his successor, Ariel Henry, are claiming to be prime minister right now. Who are you reporting to, Ambassador?
There was an interim government. That interim government had a prime minister, and that prime minister was there when the assassination occurred. But unfortunately, there was a named prime minister. The main prime minister was in process of forming his government, but unfortunately, he didn't have time to be implemented or to assume duties. But since the assassination occurred, there was a political vacuum, and that political vacuum couldn't be left, like this. We should have had the interim government to step in and to assure the continuity of the state. But now, when it comes to talking about the prime ministers, I think we are good enough in Haiti. Leaders, they can sit down together and, try to clear our differences, because there is a way to do that. And I believe Prime Minister Joseph is ready to talk to everybody, every sectors of society, and to see how they can move forward. But the most important thing is they will find a way together to clear this thing off.
Let me now turn, if you will, Ambassador, to Armin Georgian from our International Affairs Desk. He's going to update us on what your remit is, which is diplomacy, and it's taking place in New York at UN headquarters as we speak. Armin, what's the latest at the Security Council?
Well, the latest is that the permanent representative of Haiti to the United Nations is briefing members of the Security Council. So this is not an open meeting. It's behind closed doors, and typically a closed door meeting, Francois, ends up with a communique. So we're going to have to wait a bit longer to hear what actually comes out of that. We don't know whether the permanent representative may be saying more in private than what His Excellency the Ambassador has just told you in terms of what the police in Haiti are saying. Was there, as you were asking, any international involvement in this assassination? If there was any international involvement, then I suspect we will hear something from the Security Council about the need for an investigation, because this is certainly what the acting Haitian Prime Minister, Claude Joseph, has said. He said that the international community should launch an investigation. But I think that depends on what the permanent representative tells members of the Security Council, what information the permanent representative has in terms of then what the Security Council calls for, because so far they've been very measured in their reaction. They've been very cautious. They haven't jumped to any conclusions. And the statement that the Security Council put out on the 7th of July, so yesterday, was, as you'd expect, strong condemnation of the assassination, asking all stakeholders to refrain from violence. They said they were monitoring the situation. They said they expressed solidarity with the people of Haiti. But I think we'll have to see, depending on what information the Security Council gets, what they decide to say, whether they'll, as it were, raise the stakes a little bit based on any new information that they might have.
Edmond Bocchit, let me ask you, this Security Council meeting, is it about establishing an inquiry, as Armin was talking about, or is it about more? For instance, sending some kind of international peacekeeping force to stamp out lawlessness in this touch and go times that we're living in?
Such a decision, I will leave it to the authorities in Haiti to know what they're requesting. But it's very important to consider the flagrant reality. The flagrant reality is the security issue. The national police itself, it's really overwhelmed and facing those well-armed gangs. Therefore, it's very important for the government to create a safe environment for the people to vacate to their daily activities. Therefore, every technical assistance that can help the police, that can help the authorities to restore order or to make sure that the public order is maintained and the people is safe. Therefore, we'll welcome it. And when it comes to the inquiry, yesterday at the OAS, we put forward a proposal, a statement that was adopted by the OAS, and where we're calling on a swift international investigation, because we're talking about the assassination of a head of state. Therefore, it's very important to seek assistance, technical assistance for those countries with their expertise, and so we can continue with the investigation and make sure that we identify those killers and those who finance them. So it's very important for that, and for the UN, hopefully they will assess the situation and they will see what is best suited for the common reality.
And the key player, of course, is the United States, which is not very far from Haiti, and which has intervened in the past. Has the State Department told you of plans to deploy forces?
We have not been discussing that, but as you mentioned, the UN, and indeed, our relationship with the UN has been tarnished, particularly with the last event that occurred in Haiti in 2010, I believe, with the cholera issue. But at the same time, we understand that many countries want to help. Now we need help. It's very important to say that. We cannot hide it, because the national police in itself cannot, and the armed forces we have is at the level of embryonic stage. Therefore, it's not complete yet to carry out full duty. It can help the national police, but it's not enough. Therefore, it's very important to consider and to assess the current situation and see what will be best suited for the actual reality, because it's a reality. The insecurity is an issue.
Ambassador, there have been in the past attempts to kill the president. There was even a year ago foreign mercenaries who were captured and swiftly taken out of the country by the United States. So when we heard the news that these mercenaries, these claims that the mercenaries were English and Spanish speaking. Can we draw any conclusions from that?
I think it would be unfair to draw any conclusion like this, because I just don't want to go into the business of fingerprinting. We, as I said before, the investigators of the National Police, they are doing their job, and we welcome the international assistance in helping us to continue with those investigations. We will be waiting for the results, but we just don't want to accuse anyone. We just don't want to fingerprint anyone. But the most important thing is, it's a must. We need to find a way to give an answer to the people, because the people deserve an answer. The people needs to know what really occurred the night on Tuesday to Wednesday.
For the United States itself, are you expecting from the Biden administration help in the investigation, or have they announced to you that they're, for instance, sending more troops to beef up security at the embassy in Port-au-Prince?
With regards to the investigation, I spoke to the White House about that, and we make the official request with regards to the investigation. Hopefully, they will respond to us in terms of assistance to help us investigate what really occurred. And when it comes to the security of the embassies, that's their own business. We don't deal with that. They can decide any time to increase the security of the embassies, and anywhere we can assist them in the process, we will do it, because it is a right for them to protect their own embassy. But when it comes to other troops, when it comes to national security or security on the ground, we have not discussed that. But I don't think it's something we need to rule out.
One final question for you, Ambassador. Jovenel Moise, he was a political novice. He was an entrepreneur before he became president. He was a protege of his predecessor, Michel Martelly. What role for Martelly going forward?
Martelly is the former president of the country. Is a citizen, has the same right of any other citizens. And as a former president, I believe he has a role to play. He has a role to play in the healing of the nation. And I strongly believe he can do that. And he can continue to sit down with other leaders and to seek for a better harmony between ourselves. And I strongly believe he has the capacity to do that. And we do hope he will take his responsibility as a citizen, as former president, to step forward and play the role.
If that extends to running for president again, will that be part of the healing, or will that be divisive?
That's up to him to decide. I cannot make decision for former President Martelly. But I can tell you he's a Haitian national, as every other Haitian national candidate. He has the right to decide. He has the right to take part in any process. So I will let that to him.
Ambassador Edmond Bocchit, I want to thank you so much for joining us today from Washington.
Thank you so very much for having me.
I want to thank as well Armin Georgian for joining us from our International Affairs Desk.